tuning for the acoustic guitar and the rhythm electric guitar for Yellow. The first string is tuned down a half a step to D sharp. The second string stays at the normal pitch of B. Third string is at G. Fourth string is tuned down a step and a half to B. Fifth string is at the normal pitch of A. And the sixth string stays at its normal pitch of E. This is the introduction and verse for the acoustic guitar for Yellow by Coldplay. This track actually has three guitars going on. We have this acoustic rhythm guitar, which has an open tuning and some unique voicings to it. And then there's an electric guitar, rhythm electric guitar, that uses the same tuning and the same voices. It doesn't follow the acoustic into all the parts of the song. And then we'll have a lead guitar, which is done in standard tuning, which we'll take a in-depth look at in some other segments. The song is in the key of B major, and it uses an open tuning. The fourth string is tuned down a step and a half to B, and the first string is tuned down a half step to D sharp. And refer to the tuning video to get the exact tuning so you can play along. So let's take a look at some of the chords that we'll be using. The first is a B major. You'll take your index finger and you're going to put it here at the 7th fret of the 6th string. Third finger is going to go at the 9th fret of the 5th string, and your second finger is going to go at the 8th fret of the 3rd string. You're going to strum the 4th, the 2nd, and the 1st string open. So strum all 6 strings. That's B major. Next chord we're going to be using is a B add 11. It's the same shape. You're just going to add your pinky here to the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And you can lift up your second finger and strum all 6 strings. That's B add 11. Next is an F sharp 6. You're going to hook your thumb around and grab the 2nd fret on the 6th string. Third finger is going to go here on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Pinky on the 4th fret of the 4th string. Second finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Index finger goes on to the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and the 1st string is open. And that's F sharp 6. Coming up here, we have an E major 7 next. Second finger here on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Index finger onto the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and hit the remaining strings open. So the intro starts out with a modulation between the B major and the B add 11. So I'm going to play that slowly, and the tab should have the exact pattern written out for you. Let's listen. I'll play that for you slowly again. The 16th note at the end of the second beat into the 8th note that's at the beginning of the third beat, you want to use a down up strum, and you'll see that the tab actually has it written as 7/9 just on the 6th and the 5th string. You don't feel the need to be exact about that. What that tab is trying to illustrate is to strum a lower portion of the chord instead of strumming all of it. A lot of the sound of this intro figure comes from strumming all 6 strings and then strumming the lower portion of the chord. You definitely want to aim for the 6th and the 5th string, but if you happen to get the 4th or the 3rd in that, it's not a big deal. Next, we go to a very simple, straightforward 8th note strum, where we stay on the lower portion of the chord for the majority of it, but on the 2nd beat and the 4th beat, in conjunction with the snare drum, actually, we strum the entire chord. And in this sense, the acoustic guitar almost becomes a percussion instrument. So let's listen. We'll be cycling through B major to F sharp 6 to E major 7, and then back to B major. So let's listen. There's the F sharp 6, E major 7, and at the intro, with the lead guitar playing its kind of bendy lick over top of it, we're going to be going through a cycle of B, F sharp 6, E major 7, and then a final 2 measures of B major before it starts over again. In the verse, however, it kind of ends early. We omit those last 2 measures of B major. So the cycle actually is 2 measures of B major, 2 measures of F sharp 6, 2 measures of E major 7, and then start over again back with 2 measures of B major. So let's just give a listen how that would look in the verse itself. And then before the chorus, it modulates between the B major and the B add 11 again. Let's give that a listen. It transitions differently from the first chorus to the second chorus. So let's listen to how it transitions into the first chorus. And then for the second chorus, it goes to the B add 11 on the 3rd beat of the first measure. And then we head on over to the chorus. Let's check that out next. This is the intro to the lead guitar for Yellow by Coldplay. And this lead guitar figure here at the beginning, and actually it runs throughout the song, is one of the coolest kinds of lead figures that you can have. It's very simple, but after 4 or so bars of it, you know exactly what song is being played, and it's not very common that you come up with a part like that. So let's give a listen to what we're going to be learning. So we're going to start with our index finger here on the 7th fret of the 1st string. The 2nd string is going to be played open throughout the entirety of this figure. And then we're going to bend the note on the 3rd string. And for this first one, we're going to be bending the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And I like to use my 3rd finger to bend the note and my second finger to help me get the note up there. I'm hooking my thumb over the top of the guitar for leverage, just to get a little bit of extra push on the note. Let's give it a listen. We're going to strum those 3 strings, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st string, and then push the 3rd string note, the 9th fret, up a whole step. So it'll sound in pitch the same as the 11th fret. And you'll notice that when you get up a whole step, the 3 notes have a nice harmony together. So we're going to be strumming this in an 8th note pattern, and on the very first strum of this 8th note pattern is when we're going to bend it. So now we get to the 2nd measure, and we're still holding that bend up. On the first beat of the 2nd measure, we're going to play those same 3 notes with the note bent, and then release the bend, and then finish out the measure with 8th notes. So let's listen. And then the rest of it is the same exact pattern. Bends done on the same beats, the first beat of every measure, and then the release bend is done on the first beat of the measure. It's just we're just going to plug in different notes, different frets. We're going to leave the 2nd string again ringing throughout the entirety of it. So now we're going to place our index finger on the 11th fret of the 1st string. Our 3rd finger is going to go onto the 13th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to bend it a full step. We're going to make this 13th fret sound like the 15th fret on the 3rd string. That's our target. And it's a really kind of delicate, unique sounding chord. So bend on the first beat, and then release the bend. Now we're going to come down over the E major 7. We're going to play the 2nd fret on the 1st string, and our 3rd finger is going to now bend on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. I'm going to make this 4 sound like the 6. And then finish off back here with our index finger on the 7th fret, third finger here on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And then at the outro, it just keeps repeating that figure over and again. But when you're going into a verse, we have a nice chord that we resolve to. So add your 2nd finger to the 8th fret of the 3rd string, and keep your index finger on the 7th fret of the 1st string, and strum the bottom 3 strings, 3, 2, 1. And then you'll be in the verse. Let's check out the verse next.
Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something.
Let's take a look at the chorus now. The chorus uses 2 of the chords that we used in the intro and the verse. Modifies one of them, changes the bass on one of them, and then we throw in a really beautiful minor chord. Let's give it a listen. So we start out with that E major 7, the same way we did it in the verse. It's an 8th note strum pattern. You're just going to strum it 3 times. Now we're going to change the bass note to F sharp to give it some tension. Bring your 2nd finger up to the 2nd fret of the 6th string, and your 3rd finger is now going to cover the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Your index finger is going to remain where it was at on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. That's E major 7, F sharp. So you're going to strum that in an 8th note fashion 5 times. Now we have a new chord, G sharp minor. Your 2nd finger is going to come to the 4th fret of the 6th string. And it's also going to now just kind of barely touch the 5th string, so you deaden that note. So you have a nice clean note here on the 6th string, and that 5th string should be deadened. Add your third finger to the fourth fret of the fourth string and your pinky to the fourth fret of the third string. Second string is open and first string is open. That's G sharp minor. We're still strumming in an eighth note pattern. I'm going to strum it 3 times. And then we're going to resolve to the F sharp 6. Same F sharp 6 that we used in the verse. Eighth notes. I'm going to strum it 5 times. So let's put that all together. We're going to play this pattern 3 times. And then after you've played it 3 times, we resolve to the E major 7. And he does the same strum pattern on the E major 7 coming out of each chorus. So let's listen to that strum pattern slowly. Let's head on over to the outro now.
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along. I wrote a song for you.
We're now going to take a look at what the lead guitar is playing over the first and second verses, how we do the transition to the first chorus, and how we do the transition to the second chorus, and then the lead guitar figure that's played over the chorus. So after we hear the intro lead figure, the verse goes through one cycle of the chord progression where it's just rhythm, guitar, and vocal. And then after that one cycle of the verse chord progression, the lead guitar enters with some very beautiful, some very simple triads. So let's give that a listen. So the very first triad we're going to be doing is a B major, index finger barring the 7th fret of the first and second string, second finger on the 8th fret of the third string. And you're just going to kind of drag your pick through the third, the second, and the first strings, just kind of for a dreamy effect. Take that same exact shape and slide it down to the 2nd fret, so that your index finger is barring the 2nd fret on the first and the second strings, and that your second finger is on the 3rd fret of the third string. That's F sharp major. I'm going to drag it through. Next up, we're going to be doing the triad for E. Second finger here on the 4th fret of the third string. You're going to leave the second string open, and then your third finger is going to get the 4th fret of the first string. And then we're going back to B, the same original B that you did. Index finger barring on the 7th fret of the first and the second string. Second finger on the 8th fret of the third string. Now we're going to do F sharp major again, but we're going to do a different form. Index finger on the 6th fret of the third string, second finger on the 6th fret of the first string, and your third finger is going to go on the 7th fret of the second string. And then finally we're going to end up on an E major 7. Index finger here on the 7th fret of the first string, third finger on the 9th fret of the second string, and your second finger on the 8th fret of the third string. And after that E major 7, then we're going to play the transitions to the chorus. In the second verse, you do the same exact chord progression, except it starts right away. You don't let the verse go through a cycle or chord progression. And the only difference is the very first chord that you do, that B triad, is going to be different. It's going to be the B triad that you did at the end of the intro lead. Your index finger is going to go here on the 7th fret of the first string, and your second finger is going to go on the 8th fret of the third string, and you're going to leave the second string open. So start off right away with those triads in the second verse. Just make that the first chord that you play different. So let's listen to the transition to the first chord. It's a simple 8th note pattern. So start with your second finger on the 8th fret of the third string, first finger on the 7th fret of the first string. And we're going to pick the third, the second, the first, and then the second string. And then do that again. Now add your third finger to the ninth fret of the third string, and keeping your index finger at the seventh fret of the first string. Pick the third, the second, the first, and the second. Same pattern. And then return to the shape that you just did with your second finger here on the eighth fret of the third string, index finger still on the seventh fret of the first string. So let's hear that. The transition to the second chorus uses the same pattern, the same shapes. It's just we're going to switch to the ninth fret on the third string a little bit earlier. You switch midway through the first measure rather than at the beginning of the second measure. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So again, start out with your second finger on the eighth fret of the third string, index finger on the seventh fret of the first string. Pick the third, second, first, and then the second strings. Now we're going to change early here to the third finger on the ninth fret of the third string, keeping your index finger down on the seventh fret of the first string. Pick the third, the second, and then the first strings. Now return to the shape that we just did. Second finger on the eighth fret of the third string, index finger on the seventh fret of the first string. Pick third, second, first, and second strings, and do that pattern twice in a row. So let's listen. Now we're at the chorus. The chorus plays a very simple eighth note octave pattern. Let's give that a listen. So we're going to start out with our pinky on the 12th fret of the second string, and your index finger is going to go on the 9th fret of the 4th string. Now in addition to fretting the 9th fret on the 4th string, you're also going to just barely touch the 3rd string with your index finger, so that string just kind of goes away. So you should have a nice clear note here on the 9th fret of the 4th string, a deadened note on the 3rd string, no discernible pitch there, and then your nice clear note on the 12th fret of the 2nd string with your pinky. So strum that in 8th note pattern for one measure. And next we're going to strum it 5 times in the second measure. And then we're going to slide down, the whole shape slides down 1 fret so that the index finger is on the 8th fret of the 4th string. Pinky is now on the 11th fret of the 2nd string, and you're just going to hit that 3 times. And your index finger still muting the 3rd string. So let's listen to that. Just those 2 measures. So you repeat those 2 measures 3 times, and then you resolve after the 3rd time through those 2 measures. You come back up to the original octave, your pinky on the 12th fret of the 2nd string, index finger on the 9th fret of the 4th string. Just let it ring until it's time to start the intro cycle over again.
Look how they shine for you, and all the things that you do.
At the outro of the song, once the band stops playing and it's just the acoustic and the voice, we see the verse melody being brought back. And it's the same chord progression, but one chord is different. It starts out with that same B major. But now instead of F sharp 6, we have an F sharp minor 11. And then it ends on E major 7. Just kind of dragging your pick through E major 7. So let's take a look at how to do that F sharp minor 11. Place your second finger here onto the 2nd fret of the 6th string, and you're also going to barely touch the 5th string with that same finger just to deaden it. So again, a nice clean note on the 6th string and a dead note on the 5th string. 3rd finger is going to grab the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Pinky's going to grab the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. The 2nd string is going to ring open, and then your index finger is going to grab the first fret on the first string. Strum all 6. That's F sharp minor 11. So let's listen to the outro. It's also important to know that as the outro goes on, he starts slowing down. And that's the outro for Yellow. Let's take a look at the lead guitar next. This is the performance of the acoustic guitar for Yellow by Coldplay.
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turning into something beautiful. And you know I love you so. You know I love you so. Jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line. I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turning to something beautiful. You know, for you I bleed myself dry. For you I bleed myself dry. It's true. Look how they shine for you. 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 Look how shine for you, and all the things that you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turning to something beautiful. And you know I love you so. You know I love you so. Jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line. I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turning to something beautiful. And you know, for you I bleed myself dry. For you I bleed myself dry. It's true. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how